Welcome back to This Day Live, the Sunday talk show here on Arise News channel. My panelists on the show today are Jide Ologun, legal practitioner, national development advocate, and fellow Institute of Leadership, Coaching and Strategy, Professor David Aworawo, Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies at the University of Lagos. Gentlemen, here we are in a different mode, but it is still us. We've had two guests today, three actually, but we've had two major topics. The first two guests were PDP chieftains, and we discussed, our conversation started from the news that the PDP had officially zoned the ticket of the presidency to the south. So we had Dr. Michael Mary and we had Dr. Abdulrahman Usman. With the two of them, we had a conversation about this zoning it to the south, what are the consequences. Then we had a look at the PDP itself that many considered a dead party. Well, I don't know if many people like me thought the PDP was over since people were leaving it, and they made the case that their party was still present. They also made the case that they will get a leader, the national chairman, that would rebirth the party and prove naysayers like myself wrong. And they also looked forward to having a presidential candidate that would be viable. They also talk about discipline in the party, the two gentlemen we spoke to before now. The other guest we had, Ireti Bakari Yusuf, is a broadcaster and the founder of the Association of Journalists Against Genocide. We talked about the issue of Palestine, the UN, and visa matter. So there's a mixture of politics, international politics, and immigration affairs to be discussed there. What happened is that the US, through its State Department, made an announcement that it will not be allowing Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the PLO, and some other Palestine leaders into the UN. In the UN, where they will be discussing the recognition of the state of Palestine, which is an amazing issue. And those ones have said the reason why they're telling them not to come is not true. Ireti Bakari Yusuf in our conversation made a case that the USA knows that it is not true. They're just doing it to disrupt the proceedings of the UN. Those are my words, not ours, because they want to weaken the case, maybe rattle the Palestine delegates. And she argued that with that move, that maybe the Europeans and the other allies, the Western allies, who are professing to support the Palestine state, might not do it in the end. And we ended the conversation saying that this might be a time to have a relook at the headquarters agreement, especially that section 11 of it, or generally speaking. So let's have it. Mr. Jide Ologun, start from wherever you please.
Thank you very much. And the issue of the 1947 agreement is the subject of debate, whether it affects the observer status or not. And I appreciate the fact that she amplified the reality that America is feeling isolated in all this. And these are some of the side effects of the tariff warfare that Trump is throwing around the world. So you can see some world powers now saying, okay, let's recognize the Palestinian state as a full state. And to lay the foundation, the granting of visa is at the discretion of the host nation. And of course, even if the UN building should be accessible, you must first get a visa to come in there. And I recall that in 1988 or thereabout, the former Palestinian leader Arafat was also denied visa, and the assembly had to move to host in Geneva. So here we are right now. Let's see how far we can go. Some nations have expressed their displeasure at what is going on. And by and large, we also should not ignore the position of America that the extremism, of the target audience here is of concern to America. But again, I also agree with the fact that the Palestinian leader, really discredited the unprovoked attack of Hamas on Israel, the one that started the big war.
The July war.
Exactly. So the politics are ongoing. let's see how far they can go. And she made a very valid point. If you look at the stature of Trump and Putin in the world right now, many may not be pleased by it, but they appear to be gunning for some goals that will promote the interest of, do I say they are nations now, or their leadership interests as individual leaders around the world. And we are monitoring to see how it will go, because some nations are stepping in to speak to Washington and see what can be done. And that brings us to the matter of PDP. I monitored keenly, and I appreciate the advocacy for McCarthy, and then again the advocacy that it's open to those who qualify to occupy that seat. And I just want to advise that, recall that it's the same issue of having a particular candidate in 2023 that led to Wike PDP for trying to restructure that party and reposition and try to come up with a vibrant internal democracy. It may not be an easy one. I said something then, I think towards 2019 or there, about that. There are two areas of life that you can learn. You can learn from your victory, and you can learn from your defeat. So I don't know which one PDP is learning from now. And it's amusing how Atiku is now being practically sidelined and even referred to as a serial defector. That is defected to.
Well, it's not a new charge, obviously. The people who remain in the PDP have always felt that way. I think the news is that they have the courage to say it now, when they were together.
Exactly. And I think PDP has not succeeded in handling the big man in Abuja, Wike, and that links us with the recent local government election
in Rivers,
in Rivers State. In public relations, that's what you call predictive analysis. I saw that result coming, and it came like that: 20 for APC and 3 for PDP. And strategically too, if you look at where Wike is from, PDP won there to tell PDP that I'm still in this party.
To change it. Well,
if you look at the grassroots politics and try to look ahead into 2027, even though it's been paraded that Fubara may return to office on the 18th of September, I think PDP is fast losing the hold.
In Rivers State.
If you understand grassroots politics, and that may also underscore the perception of many that we are probably moving away from the general context of democracy, which was established in Athens, which is democracy of all, coming together to determine the fortunes of all. Then we now brought it to elective democracy. But right now, I think we are beginning to have negotiated democracy.
Negotiated democracy.
You saw the meeting to placate the warring parties, Wike and Fubara. And just like the formula that they agreed upon has played out, which also is affecting the electoral processes in Nigeria. That is why we may continue to have the apathy. So many are beginning to perceive that, okay, let's leave it to them since they have negotiated it.
Among themselves.
It's of serious concern.
Where will you start from?
Well, I have a very different perspective from
I thought you would, yes. I thought you would.
First, Nigerian politics is becoming very, very sickening. That is where I start from. With the Rivers election and then the results. Yeah. You don't even know which we switch. APC, PDP, Wike is in APC, is in PDP, is supporting candidates for APC, all towards seizing the structure towards 2027. Are we really practicing democracy? The whole thing is very sickening. If I were the president, and I feel very sorry for him, I think he's making many, many missteps. You know, when you leave office, there are things you'll be remembered for.
Yeah.
Before now, our perception of President Tinubu is this, how he fought for democracy, went abroad, came back and all that. Now, remember that one local government election held before now, the courts nullified everything under a democratically elected governor.
Yes.
Now we now have an administrator, illegal administrator really. And then elections are being held and we are clapping. Is this one democracy? And some people are clapping. Now, when all of this is over, what perception of the President Tinubu shall we have? A supporter of democracy? Or a truncator of democracy? You know, that kind of thing.
The long view.
Yeah, yes, the long view. They are my friends. I mean, President Tinubu and the people, we have friends, common friends in Bodilon, common friends in...
Asoro.
No, not in Asoro. No. In
Okay.
We are common friends, you know. But
you are left behind in Lagos.
No. We are common friends there.
So
I'm speaking as speaking to a friend.
A friend, yes.
That this is not the direction I would have wanted him to go.
Yes.
You know, wait, let Mubarak come back, let them conduct the election. Let you be remembered for some positive things. This attempt we want to grab power and anything else, even my name does not matter.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm very comfortable with.
Very comfortable.
If I were to advise the president, I would have told him, let this interim man go.
Yeah.
This administrator go, and then you can
Restore
take it from
democracy.
After all, they had negotiated, and so it was always going to be to the advantage anyway.
And it's only 19-day difference.
Yes. But it's the fear of what will Mubarak do when he comes in. Let us grab the thing before he comes. I mean, and anyway, so then to PDP. I also don't agree with Barrister Ologun that the PDP, they tried to narrow the thing down to someone in the last election, and that was why the thing scattered. The thing got scattered because Wike didn't get vice presidential candidate. People are not really looking at this thing as it is. The man wanted to be vice to Atiku.
Yes.
If he had been vice to Atiku, would the presidency have come to the south? When he lost out, he started shouting about the team must be to the south. When he wanted to be vice to Atiku, as Atiku is Saturn. People are not just looking at this thing as it is. If the man lost out and managed to grab other governor to some, I'm surprised that someone like Makinde could. They were saying integrity group. Which integrity? Where is the integrity? And then that's why PDP as it is today. That's why 2 weeks ago we discussed PDP.
Yes.
I refer to PDP as Nigeria in microcosm.
Absolutely.
Yes,
right.
where only your interest matters. Not the vehicle. The parties are just purpose or something.
Special purpose
vehicle to get to an office.
What do.
Ideology, principles, those things don't matter. And that's why PDP is suffering what it's suffering. And that's why we are where we are. That you can be in one party, subverting that party, and nothing happens to you. Well, I agree with Mr. Ologun to the point of the extent that the PDP, the rump, those that are left, they have tried to reinvent the party,
yes,
which is good. And they are trying to put internal democracy and all that. At least one would have thought that by now PDP will be totally dead. But somehow, it is not dead yet, but it will not win the next election. I mean, the people that
You've done that prediction.
They can never win the next election.
Analysis.
It's simple, cannot win the next election. And then they have also zoned it into the south. I don't know any politician in the south that can beat President Tinubu at this time.
Not even Barrister Ologun.
I've said it. I've said it.
He's not in PDP.
I've said this several times. I said the next president will be either President Tinubu or Atiku.
Atiku. One of those two.
One of those two.
But now that you've zoned into the start, it could be you.
Oh, well.
You decide to move.
No. I won't jump into all those. So, we wish PDP well. They are trying to reinvent themselves. But the advice is that, look, democracy has certain tenets that guide it.
Yeah.
Those who claim to be supporting democracy, advocating democracy, working for democracy, talking about democratic values, they should learn to at least be guided by
those tenets.
Yes, not just interest. It should not. Parties should have ideologies that people subscribe to, not just special purpose vehicle for which they want to get to power. That is my advice. If that happens, then politics of bitterness will reduce, more stability will take place. The dividends we always talk about will also be more. It will not just be the interest of the politicians.
Of a few. Well, the Nigerian Immigration Service has announced a significant increase in passport fee, sparking immediate controversy and concerns about accessibility for ordinary Nigerians. Effective from September 1st, 2025, the cost of a standard 32-page passport will double from 50,000 200,000 naira. The larger 64-page passport will also double to 200,000 naira. The Immigration Service says the increase is necessary to maintain the quality and integrity of Nigerian passport and ensure efficient service delivery. They emphasize that the fees for Nigerians living abroad remain unchanged. However, the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project has strongly condemned the move, calling it arbitrary, unlawful, discriminatory against poor Nigerians. SERAP warns the hike could deny millions of vulnerable citizens access to passports. What kind of passport do you have? 64 or how many pages?
64.
64. When is it expiring? So you better start saving.
For 10 years.
For 10 years.
I've done that years back, you know.
So you're not, this does not bother you?
It bothers me.
Oh, it bothers, oh, okay.
Yes.
Let's hear.
You know, let's start from the pedestal of logic.
Yes.
The minimum wage in this country is 70,000 naira, which is just about $34 if you throw it into the Forex platform. And now, for you to have a passport officially, it's 100,000. I mean, somebody should be disturbed. So what security apps are we introducing? What efficiency? I don't, you see, and that is why the perception is strong either, that some people are lifted above the society. They do not feel the pinch of the society. Let's imagine that a minimum wage earner wants passport. For how long will he save to meet the official fee of 100,000? We are not talking of official's fee. I've mentioned that here before.
Yeah.
Because that official fee is just...
Well, the ministry will argue that the unofficial fee is going on now, that now it's...
Let the ministry argue. We know the practicals. We know the practicals. So I join those who are saying that it is insensitive. I'm not even saying in the context of the present economic realities. Yeah. I'm talking about the minimum. So what should the majority of citizens do? Yeah. Except, this is another way to curb Japa syndrome. And apart from that, those who have the perception that the government is just out to make money from the citizens, this reinforces it. So you see, I honestly, and I will keep agreeing with Prof, even though in disagreeing with me, he eventually agreed in all the points. See, if you go to section 16 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it states clearly the economic directive of government. And it says that the economy should not be managed in a way that wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few. That maximum happiness, maximum welfare, reasonable living minimum wage, affordable housing, affordable food, care for the old should be provided for all citizens. So who are those citizens?
But it's not enforceable. These things are not enforceable part of the Constitution.
And let's go to section 4
let's go there.
Of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended. That says the National Assembly is empowered to make laws for the peace, orderliness, and good government in Nigeria. And that's why I have classified the elite. For them, does it matter if they get a passport for a 5 million naira?
Well, maybe at that point
you need to realize that
at that point they will look at it.
It's about the people. Yeah. I'm bothered about it, even though I'm not going to renew my passport for a while.
But on principle,
I mean, it's...
Prof, when is the passport due for renewal?
Well, my own is due in a short while. But it's due in a short while.
Yes.
I agree entirely with Barrister Ologun that it just fits into the narrative that those in power do not bother about, what happens to the generality of Nigerians. They should have been most, perceptive in considering this increase, and of course, not carry it out. But from the broad, you should also not forget that the cost for those abroad is not increased.
Exactly.
So, I mean, and it's easy to explain.
To see why.
No, it's easy to explain. Yeah. $100 is 150,000 naira. You know, if you look at it, so is the dysfunction here, the national that is a problem really. So I would like to look at it from a broader point of view, and that is that just what we are talking about, what we are saying for passport goes for everything. Goes for everything. I mean, there's something circulating on social media regarding what professors earn. Yes. And what...
I think you started it because you mentioned it. Everybody started checking.
What professors earn, 500 and something thousand. If you want to buy a good car now, you need about 25, 30 million to buy a good car, a sound car. If a professor is to buy that one, he will have to save everything he earns for 5.5 years.
Yeah, before he can.
He won't eat, he won't fuel, he won't buy electricity. 5.5 years. So the thing goes around everything we do, really, not just the passport. That we have had dysfunction in our economic system, such that we are living a lie, really.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is what has to be addressed. That fundamental thing. The same thing goes, look, in the past 3-4 years, I've been invited to to different countries of the world, like 3, 4, 5 times. I didn't attend any of them. And those ones are shocked that we are all expense paid and everything, and you're not coming. That is because before now, when they invite you like that, small money, you just get your visa and you are gone. Yeah. But now, of course, you have to get your visa and all that. You need about 600, 700, 800,000 for the processing. To go fly to Abuja and back, I need 400, 500,000. The visa is so I was spending about 1 million. Without even unknown to the people inviting me.
Who think this paid for anything.
Exactly. So it affects every aspect of it. That's what we must address fundamentally. How do we stabilize the economy such that things are real, not fake as they are? Things are almost all of our living fake lives. As the president, I told Dr. about it last week. The president's salary, if he were to live by it, he would be a poor man, 1.5 million.
In this kind of economy.
Yes.
So, and I think there's a peculiar thing about the passport fees, which is that unlike other products that can be transferred to consumer, the passport thing cannot be transferred to anybody. It's a very personal, direct levy.
That is correct.
As it were. There's that part of the economics. But one last question about this, and let's, I think, a break or something. What do you think should be done? What do you think should be done and by whom? Serap has spoken, you have spoken, but what is an action that,
Well, first, they should revert to the old,
But what was going to make them do it? Listening to you?
Well,
what's the mechanism that will make them do that?
Unfortunately, the only thing that has made the government act is when people protest. And we can't start...
Very sad, you can protest about that.
And if people have to do that, which means there will be protests every day in Nigeria. So and that's
what's also the suggested rule?
For government to be more sensitive.
Yeah.
Not to be impervious to the things we say, things that Serap is saying, and then the reality that confronts us. Government should be more sensitive to all of these things. Maybe they made a mistake. They didn't look at certain dimensions of it that we are now bringing to the fore.
Yeah.
And since we are presenting it now, we expect a democratic government, right, to be sensitive to that and revert this thing. While we gradually adjust our entire economic system to be able to address the realities that confront us day by day.
Barrister, do you have any suggestion on what should be done and by whom? Since you don't agree.
I adopt that submission.
You adopt this submission.
Only to add that many are likely not to have read about this. Even NIPOST has increased the rate of sending
letters across the country
to the US, given the excuse that the US has removed the minimal whatever that they have extended to some nations of the world. So
they remove it from Nigeria.
Must you be exposed
so easily
to the external shocks? When will you begin to plan for your citizens to be able to plan consistently their economy, social life, and things like that, and imbibe the sense of patriotism? Fuel subsidy is gone. Energy subsidy is gone. Education subsidy is gone. The issue of ASUU now, I understand about 236 first-class lecturers have left Unilag.
Let's go to education.
So what exactly?
Let's go straight to education, where we discover that the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has clarified his earlier remarks, confirming that the 2009 federal government ASUU agreement is the only binding part with the Nigerian University Lecturers. ASUU is the Union of University Lecturers in Nigeria. The clarification comes after the minister had initially dismissed the union's claim, saying no formal agreement existed. The minister explained that while the 2021 NIMI BRICS draft emerged from renegotiation, it was never formally executed and serves only as a discussion framework. Officials emphasized that the government remains committed to resolving the 16-year-old ASUU impasse in line with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, and urged the public to disregard earlier misinterpretations. 16-year-old, 16 years. If you start at university, you have a PhD by now, you have a postdoctorate. And it's still going on. That's a whole life. As a matter of fact, if you were in secondary school, you would have graduated with postgraduate. What's happening with this thing, Prof?
Well, it again speaks to the point you have been making about government's unseriousness about very important things. That agreement was negotiated in 2009. It was supposed to be, renewed, aspect of it addressed, and then implementation, from that point. But government after government and federal administration haven't paid attention. We began with the panel, headed by Gamali Onosode.
Yes.
Onosode. Then we had Babalaki. Then we have Muzali Jibril. Then we have Nimi BRICS. Now we have Yayale Ahmed on that same agreement. So we've negotiating, and implementation. And of course, many strikes have, taken place on account of.
And there's another one going on right now.
Well, no, we just did a one-day.
Thing. Yeah, it's still a strike.
To show the government that if
there.
nothing concrete happens. Well, I commend the minister for retracting his earlier comment.
Yes.
But those earlier comments, it was not misquoted.
No, it wasn't.
I'm sure somebody called him to order and say, but this thing is so clear. Because people started not sharing the agreement on social media and everything. So why we make such comments is very, very surprising. There will likely be a strike if something concrete does not take place, and that will be a tragedy of immense proportion.
Of immense, I just agree.
Under Buhari, we had 2020 lost, 2022 lost. That's the first time we have 2 years of 3 lost. And that's why I rate our government the worst that Nigeria has ever had.
That allows that to happen.
Never, ever. And that's one of the things I also have against Professor Shibajo. When he was contesting for the primary of APC, people, when we discuss, people say, that man, where was he when the strike
was going on? He didn't raise his hand.
Yes, and I'm personally disappointed that if you hear my voice.
Of course.
I will do something
about that.
But you are where we are. So those are the issues. And just made reference a while ago, you can see how small what professors earn, 540,000, 550,000. That's one of the poorest on planet Earth. And that's why that agreement, 2009, is not just about agreement. It's about doing what is right so that the education system will not collapse. But
let me throw something at you. It appears the government hasn't got this money. That seems to be the issue. Or at least they don't have the money for university lecturers. Maybe they have money for other things. Can ASUU, can professors, can lecturers come up with a different kind of request? Maybe in kind, maybe it's something else. Given that they don't want to sign the check, is there something else they can do? Because I've been thinking for you.
I don't think there is a way around this. The government cannot say it doesn't have money.
That
is what they say, but we know that is not the truth.
That's a very union mindset. Yes. The idea that if somebody, you just keep saying, we know they have it. Okay, could we get together and think, clearly they don't want to give us? What else can we ask for? Because contrary to what people might think, I can assure you that lecturers don't like to go on strike.
Yes.
And
that's why these 2 years that the government is even celebrating took place.
Yes,
it's not that they did anything concrete. Now this is my position.
Yes.
Sometimes when we discuss the thing here, where this comment we always say, the autonomy.
Yeah.
You see, the alternative is that universities will charge, economic fees, to be able to pay. That's what happens elsewhere, all over, in many parts of the world. You charge your fees and then you manage your affairs, you have your autonomy and all that. But you see, if the government does that, if the universities do that, of course, 80% won't be able to come to it. So, and again, that's what happens when you have, you have countries that are developing.
Yes.
Education as business or education as social service.
Yes.
It's somewhere in between. It's not that if government even pays us well, that's also the problem. So we can't go that route. And ASUU is not saying pay us the way you are paying people in NNPC or whatever. Add something to what we have so that people will be able to at least live fairly well and be able to do their job. That is what, and that I think government can afford. So we say government cannot afford if we're asking for maybe 5 million. But if we are saying just add something, 1.5 million, thereabouts, then they should be able to it means ASUU has shifted and government too has shifted.
Maybe ASUU also needs to show government where to get the money from. Get your finance experts to help government rewrite the budget in a way that will show them where the money should come from. It is not their duty, but it's a service to the nation. What's your contribution to them?
So, let me start by questioning you.
Yes.
Where does the 21 million per month for senators?
Where is it coming from?
Where is it coming from?
Well, because they stand up for themselves. They know where the money is. The electorals don't know. I mean, that's the point. The electorals are far away from the treasuries.
Okay, back to democracy.
We know.
We know
what. I mean, we're talking about 2 trillion. From 700 billion every month to 2 trillion, right?
I throw a challenge electorals, starting from you, Mr. I think Nigerian electorals need to go and show the government and the public where they should get their money from.
It is there in government earning. The government itself has come to announce that. Look,
they need to write an alternative budget.
Let's go to the macro. Let's go to the macro level.
Micro level, yes.
It simply shows that Nigeria does not value education.
Well, that's very clear.
Prioritization.
That is so sad,
because
but very true.
What you value, you invest in. This issue has been on. 2009 is a 51-page agreement. Yeah. I mean, it's there online. Even though Chief Olusegun Obasanjo commented at that time that it was not a sustainable agreement. Yeah. That's another thing for the government to just rush into agreements and even the negotiation and everything not honored. And let's say this, there are issues in that agreement. Yes. The revitalization of the academic institutions. You talk about the welfare of the lecturers. I just said it now. First class lecturers that have left.
I mean, that's just osmosis. That's demand and supply.
But we should be bothered. And again,
of course we should be bothered, but, you know,
there is what you call lobbying. You know, in democracy. That is why you have a lobby at the National Assembly.
Lecturers should get lobbies.
Yes. We have one. No, they should go and learn how to lobby.
Yeah, I think they need to.
There is tremendous power
with
the legislators. Some of us have suggested it.
Yes.
If we come to the level where, as a politically exposed personality in Nigeria, your children cannot go to school abroad. You cannot go for medical care abroad.
There you go. Those
laws, you know, then the attention will be. And I have a precedent here. Even though it terminated earlier than expected, at a point in time, El Rufai, as the governor of Kaduna State, perhaps to score political goals, decided to put his child in public school and everything. But he withdrew that move. We need to, because I did analysis of the ASUU strike in year 2022 when Chris Ngige rose to the National Industrial Court to interpret, I think, Section 43, subsection 2 of the Trade Disputes Act, that no work, no pay, and things like that. Why are you treating your lecturers like this?
Because they have no respect for them. What have you done badly to them?
And we talk about Japa. They are well cared for abroad. At a time,
let's go to Kaduna. Let's go to Kaduna before they stop us. Operations on the Abuja-Kaduna rail have been suspended following Tuesday's train derailment, which left 6 passengers with minor injuries. The Nigerian Railway Corporation says that technical teams working on the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau are investigating the cause of accidents. Ticket refunds have been issued, and officials stress that the maintenance protocols were followed. Authorities met with passengers at the Abuja, Asham, and Idu stations, confirming that all injured travelers have been treated. The total numbers of passengers on board is still being verified. These crucial yet fragile Abuja Kaduna train station again. What do you see? Does anybody travel on that? I do. Does anybody? No, you don't. Yes.
Yes, they should first investigate to find out exactly what happened. Did anybody tamper with the rail track and all? I mean, what exactly happened?
Is going on there?
This is an accident. Accidents happen. As long as they don't happen so frequently and it doesn't become a pattern. Accidents happen from time to time. Even in most advanced countries, accidents. But it's not the negatives elsewhere we should be copying. We should be able to run a railway system that is near
Thank
perfect.
You for saying that.
Near perfect. So they need to find exactly what happened and correct it so that we won't have a repeat of what the derailment that we have just had. I'm happy about how they have interacted with the passengers, tried to refund their tickets and all of that, because that is not the usual battle in Nigeria. Usual battle in Nigeria is you go to hell.
Yeah.
Nobody. In fact, you get to the office, you won't meet anybody. You even have somebody to even interact with. But at least this one that they are trying to meet the needs of those affected one way or the other is commendable. But fundamentally, they need to find out exactly what happened, why the derailment took place, to prevent a recurrence in future. That is, to my mind, the fundamental thing.
I think the first suspicion of a lot of people was that it was due to lack of maintenance. But the Nigerian corporation has come out now to say
no,
it wasn't due to that.
They need to be honest first.
Exactly.
They need to be honest, not deceive anybody. And then when they are honest and they determine exactly what went wrong, they will be able to prevent a recurrence moving forward. That is just the fundamental thing.
Ologun, Kaduna.
Let me start by thanking God that nobody died.
Yeah.
Let's start from there. And I must also commend Honorable Kayode Okoifa for how he managed that crisis in the realm of communication and everything. And I also expect that there should be thorough investigation, because there had been complaints about vandalization, which forms part of the security. And let's go back in history. At a time, the former minister in charge of transportation, Amechi, said that he had a tough battle getting security tracking equipment installed. Yeah. These things are vital, And recently, we also saw a video that the train got stuck somewhere along the line, and people were wondering. So we should not quickly throw away maintenance, because maintenance is a critical issue in Nigeria.
So we go back to this point. We should be honest about it and tell what happened.
So
before we round up, let's quickly go to Equatorial Guinea, where in a rare case of accountability, the ruling family, for the ruling family, that is, a court in Equatorial Guinea has convicted the president's son for illegally selling state property. Rosian Obiang Nasu, son of President Teodoro Obiang Ngem, was found guilty of selling national airline plane to a Spanish company and keeping the proceeds of $225,000. The 50-year-old former airline executive and sports secretary received a 6-year prison sentence, but can avoid jail term if he reimburses the money and pays additional fine. This conviction marks the latest in a series of scandals involving the Obiang family, which has ruled the oil-rich Central African nation for over 4 decades. Just this week, another presidential relative received an 8-year sentence for embezzling public funds. So, corruption and accountability.
Yeah, in Equatorial Guinea, governance is a family affair.
Yeah.
Nguema Mbasogo, his son, and the other Nguema, another Nguema. Let me just mention this, that this conviction was possible because one son was against another son.
Yeah.
The one that's more powerful,
as they were before,
went after the one that is less powerful, and they got this. If it were the other one, I'm not sure this would have happened. That's the one that's vice president, the choice one. Yeah. In fact, he would have been jailed in his country. It was in France that he was found guilty. That choice one. Yeah. It was one that went after the other one. So it is not something to actually celebrate. The Equatorial Guinea to be cleaned up.
So it is not it is not corruption and accountability. It's just corruption and feudal battle.
Yes, and nepotistic control and all that.
So
which is what Equatorial Guinea must punch itself off to be able to develop.
Barrister Ologun, so the law has not triumphed.
We were discussing this Equatorial Guinea in a professional outing recently, and somebody made me realize that if anyone thinks a nation is corrupt, you need to visit Equatorial Guinea. You know, this is a country of less than 2 million population. Yes. But if you look at the foundation, even the present leader, who has been there for over 4 decades,
40 years,
came in as a coupist, as a nephew to the dictator that was there. And he has imposed himself. So now cousins and nephews. And recently, one of his nephews also slept with over 400 women, recorded the video and everything. So, and this is a country that is rich in gold, bauxite, iron, and oil and gas, that should be, you know, enjoying. So, and there are many questions
about that
to answer. But then he's been given an option. I mean, and we
keep
pay
back. They say pay back and some fine.
Exactly. And now, how does it affect us? What has happened to here in Nigeria? Because it's good to comment on these things happening out there. I mean, imagine somebody just waking up, selling a national asset and pocketing the money as described.
We were buying a fake one.
You know? So,
well, that's what we have time for today. Thank you very much, gentlemen. You've been watching This Day Live, the Sunday talk show here on Arise News. I'm Anthony Kila, and from my entire team in Lagos, it's bye for now, and thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.